Pedestrians are often very much at a disadvantage in any type of, auto versus pedestrian accident, mainly because the injuries tend to be more serious, obviously, because they don't have the protections of being in the interior of a vehicle when they're hit. But then by the time the police get there, often that injured person is carted away from the scene in an ambulance to some hospital, and they don't get to speak to the officer. The officer will talk to the other person who hit them, and the other person who hit them is obviously going to have a different story as to what happened than the pedestrian. So we find a lot of times that if we have a person who is hit by a car who's not in a crosswalk, we find that the officer initially finds the pedestrian at fault.
So I think that police officers, when they arrive on scene, they're trying to do their due diligence, right? I typically get one side of the story. They might be able to speak to witnesses, and oftentimes the accident reports will have a diagram that will indicate where on the vehicle it struck the person. They might even have a little diagram of where the person was lying on the ground or this sort of thing. And because they get one side of the story, and because we're all sort of taught from a young age, you've got to be in a crosswalk, you've got to be in a crosswalk, there is almost this sort of just like societal understanding that if you're not in a crosswalk in your head, it's your fault. What working on these cases has taught me is that that's not true. And an officer may be well-intentioned and check the box that says the pedestrian is at fault. That is not the end-all be-all.